Started recording and you could take it away.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. So, we actually just changed our name to Family Promise of the Jersey Shore to try to encompass more of the entire area that we are serving. And we've been around since 2009, really basically serving for the southern part of the county, which has been wonderful. But as I'm sure all of you are aware, the need just continues to grow. There's so many families that are in need of assistance. So during COVID, we kind of redid everything to try to meet the needs of all of the families that we serve and realized that not everybody is in need of shelter. And what could we do, especially during COVID, when we could not provide that? So we launched a prevention program. That prevention program specifically is for folks all of Ocean County. We also do extend to other counties as well, depending on the need that is there. But our prevention program specifically is for families that are in need of back rent, back mortgage, help to pay for utilities, help to potentially fix a car so that they can get to and from work. We also do diversion work that's kind of under that bucket as well. So, the difference between diversion and prevention, diversion is really they've already in the process of being evicted, they can't go back to that particular place, and we want to divert them out of shelter. So, we will then do landlord mediation as much as possible, pay for moving costs, pay for security deposit to be able to get them into another place faster, just to be able to avoid them from being into shelter in the first place. And a lot of the time, the cost that we've been spending on that is usually security deposit. It's been furniture to get them in faster as well. Any kind of cost that may occur to be able to get them into a place. And then we also provide motel placements. So the motel placements, though, are really if it's just an interim period of time before they can then get into a place. So it can't just be, hey, we need a motel and we have no idea where we're going to be going in the future. This opportunity for that motel placement is to be able to get them until they get into the next place. So that might be for only 1 week, it might be for 2 weeks, but there has to be a plan of action ready to go of where they're going to be returning. That could also be that they do come into our program and we're paying for that motel until they can have an intake set up for our program. Now, our regular shelter program, we are expanding, like I said, to the entire county. However, we still only have host sites down in the southern part of the county. So we have been telling folks for right now, unfortunately, if they are working or the kids are going to school in the Toms River area, they do then need to be able to have a vehicle to drive all the way down to the southern part of the county because those host sites are in Little Egg Harbor, Manahawkin, Waretown. And so that can be a little bit of a trek. And so in that case, a motel may be a better placement for them because we want to make sure that whatever service that we're providing is helping them to be successful and not just putting a band aid on the situation. We are actively recruiting new host sites that be churches, community buildings, anything that we can find in the northern part of the county so that we can better equip ourselves to help the families from the northern part of the area. So if anybody happens to know of anything, please let me know as we're actively doing that. But what's great about the motel program and prevention, you do not need a vehicle for that. And I am hoping that as we get more north host sites, that you won't have to have a vehicle either for that. And that is very different. Like I said, in the southern part of the county, you do have to have a vehicle or some kind of transportation. Now, if the family says, I'm willing to take a bus, I'm willing to Uber, I'm willing to ride a bike, as long as they put that in writing that they're able to figure it out or have a family or friend to be able to help them, we would consider bringing them into the program. Um, I very much like to look outside the box and see what we can do to really wrap around that family as much as possible. And so we have done that with folks, and that's been really successful. We have a family in the program right now. Their car broke down, and they were totally fine with taking public transportation and or a bike. So we were able to secure a bike for them. The dad is on a bike going to and from work, and he's happy about it because he didn't have to leave the program. We're still trying to get them set up. And then we are in the process of trying to get them a vehicle, but unfortunately, on those kinds of things, that is, a very lengthy process to be able to obtain vehicles. But we do get that from time to time too. So that's always a possibility that we try to look at. Do they have a driver's license? Do they have the potential to even get their driver's license? And how can we work with that family to be able to move them forward? Um, they can have a criminal background. They just cannot be a safety concern to themselves and others. And so when we run a background check, I really, same thing, try to look at what were those charges? Will they be safe when they're around other volunteers and other families in our program? Same thing goes, we do drug and alcohol screening for all adults. And then we also do it for teenagers as well at random. We did have to screen somebody that was 10 years old, and unfortunately, it seems as though kids are using younger and younger, but it's at random. The parents know that when they screen. We have an outside agency that does that for us, um, and tries to do it as easily of a process as possible. So they come through our program. We are also continuing, hopefully this spring. We have a couple of different landlords that we're working with for more transitional housing options that will become available, which I'm very excited about, in Waretown and then also in the Manahawkin area to immediately start placing families. And that model will really look like more of a year process where they'll continue to work with us, but have permanent housing. They'll continue to build up their credit and then be able to move forward from there into hopefully market rate rent or finding something else if they're able to obtain a housing voucher, whatever may have you. Amongst our prevention program as well, if you have any folks that say are in their housing or in motels and they're not looking to leave their situation at all, we do partner with all of the school systems as well to help identify any families that are in need. So we provide food, clothing, toiletries, gas cards. We do Easter baskets, Christmas, Thanksgiving, anything that they may potentially need. And we try to have the school help to identify where those families are so that essentially they're not spending money on any of those things, that they're using their funds to specifically stay in their homes or stay at that motel so that they are in a safe environment. And like I said, I really try to look outside the box as much as possible. So even as you guys are working with all of your clients, if you're seeing that there's any kind of gaps in the system that we could potentially help out with, something that's reoccurring that is a need that's not getting met, it's really important to share that, because we are a nonprofit. We have the opportunity to really change how we operate to meet the needs of the community. And I love the fact that we're able to do that. We do not at the moment get regular county funding. We do get emergency food and shelter money, which is very little, but otherwise everything else comes in from donations and small grants. So we are always fundraising and trying, to get folks in the community to be able to help us, which is wonderful. But what's great also with that is that it does give us that opportunity to really talk to other organizations to see, what do clients actually need. We don't have the lengthy paperwork that families need to be able to fill out. We just need initial quick information, and then it's usually a very fast process for them to be able to get assistance. It typically takes about a couple of days and maybe a week maximum to be able to get assistance. Motel placement usually is that same day or the next day. Prevention, because there is a little bit of paperwork on there from the landlord's end, that does take about a week until somebody is actually able to receive payment in hand. But yeah, I feel like I gave you guys a lot of information in a short time, but that is essentially everything that we are doing. It's a lot, but I hope that this could be a wonderful resource for all of you, for the families that you guys are serving. We go back out into the community to engage in financial literacy planning. We do work on career resume building. We work on time management, interpersonal skills, conflict resolution. There's a lot of different buckets that we're working with. And so far, that's always been in house, meaning me, myself, and I, which is not sustainable. So we have been reaching out to other agencies to be able to assist with that programming. and that will be done in-person workshops that will be open to the entire community, not just Family Promise families. And then there will also be an online component that anybody can also have access to that online curriculum. And there's a way to track on the back end if they completed it, where they got stuck on any part of that curriculum as well. So I find that to be really exciting that that will be coming hopefully in the next month. I think they said at the end of March we'll be able to implement that for a pilot program. So I think that will be really cool, and that might be exciting for a lot of your clients as well. There's also a kids portion where kids have the opportunity to start learning how to budget, how to utilize, small funds out of their piggy bank, and how to save and start learning, some of those key concepts based off of their age. So I'm trying to work with some of the schools as well to identify even just a few kids that may be willing to start this process. And then we can collect that data on the back end to be able to see, how does that work? And anybody that does complete that will be given a gift card um, for either gas or for clothing. We have Walmart and different things like that once they complete that program. So hopefully that'll be an incentive as well for folks to be able to be a part of that pilot. Does anyone have any questions at all about kind of what we're doing, or even just in general, maybe some of the gaps that you guys are seeing with your folks?
Family that I might want to refer to you. What is the
Yes, I have
best
a
way to do that?
I have a question. I'm so sorry I cannot turn on my camera because I don't feel good today. I
Oh,
apologize.
no worries. Hope you feel better.
uh, Thank you. I have a question. What about if the family is not legal,
That's
don't have
fine.
the documentation?
Yeah, that's okay. They can still be a part of our program.
Oh, well, I need your services. I need your phone number. I need your email. I need your everything.
Well,
At the
I will
at
put it
the
in the
end, we'll
chat.
definitely
okay, perfect.
I'll
Thank you.
send out a mass email to everybody with the information. I know Courtney asked, I believe, like, what is the referral process look like? Is there forms? Is there anything that the care manager needs to fill out, or is it just the family? What does that look like?
So it depends. We've done a couple of different things. I know I've had some of you guys email me directly. And so if you email me directly, that gives me a paper trail, and that is a lot easier then that I can also follow up with our case management team to make sure that they got on it. Um, so if you're able to do that, which I'll give you my email in here. It comes directly to my cell phone, so it's a lot easier for me to see it. But the client technically should still call that office number because we need to collect that initial information. But like I said, if you're able to then email me as well and say, the client called, this is their information, this is specifically what we're looking for in terms of assistance, I can get on it a lot faster. And depending on the services that they need, like, so just as an example, I think one of you guys had somebody that walked into your office and was in need of motel placement immediately. We're not always in the office. We might be out at a training or something. And so if you email me, I'm still going to be able to see that referral right away. So we were able to place that family immediately into a motel because I got that email right away, and we're able to make that call and connection. Um, and like I said, that was immediate, and we're continuing to work with that family right now, which is great. If they call though, and say we're not there, there could potentially be a process where by the time we get to the call, it could be the next day. So I would just be mindful of if it's something that's pretty urgent, try to email me as much as possible. But like I said, prevention does take some time in terms of the paperwork that they would need to collect. I'm working on gathering it together so that everyone can have access to it online so that the client will know in advance what paperwork that we need. So typically for prevention, we need pay stubs. We just need to collect some of their brief information, and then we need their landlord information so that we can make that payment, but also reach out to that landlord to make sure that the landlord is okay if we make that payment. They're not going to still go and evict that family.
I had a question just about eligibility. Like, is there any specific eligibility criteria?
So it depends on the program. Um, Motel placement, not really, other than for every single program, they have to have at least one child under the age of 18. So if they have adult children, that's fine. Just somebody in that family unit has to have one child. So if that means that they identified their family as also including grandma or an aunt and uncle or a friend, that's fine. Again, one of them just has to have at least one child under the age of 18 with them. Um, Prevention and motel placement, they do not have to have a vehicle. Shelter placement for our regular shelter program, which is where they come to us and they spend a week at a time in a different facility. And there's no, well, they're in that program, there's no cost to them at all whatsoever. We pay for everything. We pay for food, we pay for any items that they potentially need in our shelter program. But that one they do have to have a vehicle. So that can be a deal breaker, for a lot of families right now. Um, and then they have to be willing to undergo a background check for the shelter program. They do not have to do a background check for prevention or motel placement. They do not have to go through drug and alcohol screening at all for prevention or motel placement, but they do for shelter. And it really goes back to because they're living with other families that there has to be a safe environment. For prevention, they have to be able to show proof of future affordability. So that means their pay stubs, we need to be able to see that. And like I said, the landlord needs to be willing to sign the form that we have stating that they're not going to go ahead and evict them anyways. Motel wise, there just has to be some kind of plan of where are you going after we already pay for that motel.
That makes sense. Uh, any other questions that anyone has regarding like Family Promise of Southern Ocean, or maybe you have a family that you feel like would
Yeah.
benefit, but you have some further
Yes, I have another
questions?
question. Sorry, me
Yeah,
again. You have a Spanish speaking workers?
I do not. However, we do have another agency that we work with that has always helped us if we have somebody that is Spanish speaking.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. I have a case manager that can understand. She just has very broken up Spanish. So like I said, she's been very helpful, but we have somebody else that's in the area that has come over and assisted us. And then still, if you have
Well,
any clients that need help with clothing or food or anything like within the school districts, if we know of any of that information as well, and you can identify them through the school districts, we can also then make sure that they're on our list when we distribute any of those supplies or whatever they may need. We have a lot of volunteers that want to donate. They just don't necessarily know how to help. So we don't give anybody's personal information. We just say, hey, we happen to have some families that are in need of X, Y, and Z. We collect them and then we can disperse that accordingly.
great.
And I'll make sure I share with you as well. I do have a PowerPoint presentation, but it's a little bit longer. So I will share that with you. How do I?
Yeah, you could email that to me, and I'll disperse it out to our staff.
Okay, perfect. Because I also have it in PDF form, if that's easier, but it goes over our eligibility is in there for each program, what each program is, just so that you have it in writing and what that looks like.
Definitely, that would be helpful.
Okay.
And everyone on here, I will send that out along with Liz's contact information, which is also in the chat if you need, to make emergent contact, within today. But we want to definitely thank you so much for coming and presenting. It's definitely something that I feel like would benefit a lot of our families. So getting the word out is so important, and it seems just very sustainable.
Yeah. We've had so far, I mean, don't get me wrong, some folks don't always complete the program, but for everybody that has completed the program, they do not become homeless again, which has been really awesome. We've had 100% success rate for those that have actually completed the program. Sometimes they don't, and that's okay. And even if they leave the program, we still try to follow up with them. And so, they're still always eligible to learn those skills. They're still always eligible, for help at Christmas time or Thanksgiving or things like that. We don't, try to just drop them and say that we can't help you. And like I said, I'm always around. If you shoot me an email, or like I said, if you call the office, you're more than welcome to do that. I would just ask, don't have the client email me. It should come from you directly, but the client should call our office. But Caitlin, can't hear you.
Your sound went out, Caitlin. It's all right. So I think that, hi Liz, how are you?
Hi.
I think this is the third time I've heard you present, which is great. You're getting out there. So
Yeah, trying. I just need help getting out into the community. I mean, a lot of folks know who we are in the southern part of the county, which is great. But now that we're doing the rest of the county, I just need help, sharing that information. I know there's a lot of need out there. You know, but we also need help even just connecting to resources so that we can provide more housing in the northern part of the area, and volunteers and all that comes with that. So if you guys can just help share our information as well on that end, we have the manpower to do it. I just need the rest of the resources to be able to help back it.
yep, we'll definitely share the information. Right, anyone else have any questions? Okay, hearing none. I think that's a wrap. Thanks a lot again, Liz, and thanks everyone for showing up. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and Caitlin, and we can hopefully get you the answers. All right, have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.